Welcome to Veteran State of Mind. I'm your host, Geraint Jones. Happy to be with you guys today. Thanks for joining us. We have massive guest on the podcast today. It's actually one of those days where I kind of look back and, you can trace your route in life, to a certain moments, and there wouldn't be a Veteran State of Mind if it wasn't for this guy. So just to give you a bit of context on that, Gareth Emery, who's been on the show before, friend of mine, DJ, music producer. When I was going through a tough time in my life back in, I think it was early 2016. I was a bit rudderless, lacking direction, lacking purpose. And Gaz sent me this podcast and he said, you have to listen to this. And I remember exactly where I was when I listened to it, which is always a good sign about a book or a movie or a podcast. If you can remember where you first heard it. And I was walking down the beach in San Clemente and I was listening to this guy. And this guy was he was throwing fire and brimstone. And it was exactly what I needed to hear at the time. And I'm not going to say that everything turned around at that moment, but it stuck in my mind and I kept going back to it. And it was a podcast called the MFCEO Podcast, which I thoroughly recommend that all you guys go and listen to. It's instrumental in if you want to grow a business or do anything. I suppose the way to say it is, Andy's kind of whole thing was that we're all, even if you don't have a company, you are the CEO of your own life. You are the chief executive officer of your own life. And that's fucking true because, look, the buck stops with you. At the end of the day, I can come here, we can have guests on, we can give you all the advice in the world. But you're the one that has to act on it. You're the motherfucking CEO, right? And that really kind of resonated with me because we all have a tendency to think sometimes that things are outside of our control. And some stuff is, but a lot of it is within our control. And Andy was really instrumental in showing me that and kind of helping me get a grip on my life. Doesn't mean I haven't had slip-ups from since then. I've had some and they've been fucking big. But, that's like business too. If you've got a business running, it's not going to be tickety-boo. Every day you are going to have bad days. And the idea is you have more good days. And if you have more good days than bad days, then you win. So check out the MFCEO by Andy and also check out the new podcast that he does now called Real AF. And when I tell you that these podcasts are big, I mean they are some of the biggest podcasts in the world, millions of downloads. So Andy really kind of was instrumental in me figuring out the podcast. And obviously we've still got a lot to learn at Veteran State of Mind. And by we, I mean me. Because again, as much as I appreciate the work that everybody else does around this, one of the things that Andy kind of promotes is that the buck stops with you. So if there are mistakes and in the way that these things are done, it's all that's on my shoulders. And you know what? It's a great thing to have people out like him out there to learn from, and I really, really appreciate it. And I know I'm going on a bit here now, but I really don't want to undersell just how important this man has been in shaping the past 4 or 5 years of my life. And like I said, if you're listening to the podcast, if you find value from this podcast, then you can directly trace that back to Andy and also Vaughan, who was a part of that project, and also Tyler too. Like I said, now he's gone on to Real AF, and we'll talk about the reasons why that is. But I think it's also just illustrative of how just because you start a project going in one direction, it doesn't always. You'll find new directions as you're going. So, in the same way that we're bringing civilian guests on today, because Andy is a civilian, hasn't served, he's not a veteran. He's served in plenty of other ways, and that's kind of the whole point in bringing these civilian guests on is that we can see that, look, there's a lot of the veterans have given to people. There's a lot of civilians have given. We can all learn from each other. But yeah, and Andy's now feeling that his calling is more in being a leader, because he's been a leader through the MFCEO project. He's a leader in his businesses, which are incredibly successful and employ a lot of people. And he's been a leader online. And both him and I are both very much on the same page when it comes to social responsibility, both for ourselves and for helping other people. So what I'd love you to do, guys, today is, I'm not going to plug anything here at the beginning of the podcast, but what I really appreciate you doing is go and follow Andy. He's Andy Frisella. Go and follow First Form, his companies. I'll tag everything up in the show notes. But get behind, read the messages. Doesn't mean you have to agree with everything that somebody says, but go and support them, because Andy is, one of the things that he does is, he's on the guest speaking circuit, and it costs me the best part of 6 figures to get Andy for an hour of speaking. and he's given us an hour of his time for a big fat zero. So I think the least we can do is get behind him, promote Andy, make a post about him, go and follow him. He's not asking for any of that, but I'm asking for it because I think it's the least we can do as a community, and we are a community here at Veterans State of Mind. All right, guys, let's get into it. Please give a very warm welcome to Mr. Andy Frisella. All right, Andy, welcome to the podcast, mate. Thank you so much for being here. I want to give the listeners a head up listening to this because I know you're from a blue-collar town, I'm from a blue-collar town, and a lot of the of our listeners are as well. And I just want to kind of make them clear on just how much your time is worth, the dollar value on your time is worth a lot, and the fact that you're willing to give us that up for us, I really, really appreciate. So thank you so much for coming on today, mate. And also, just from a personal point of view, I started listening to you on the MFCEO years ago now. I think it was 2015. So thank you for Gareth Emery for putting me on to that one. And I was going through a really fucking tough time in my life right then. I've talked about this in my book. I was suicidal at the time. I was going through a fucking bad spot. And I didn't think I was going to come out of it on the other side. And you were a part of bringing me out of that side. So I want to thank you so much for doing that. It's nice to be able to tell you that face to face. And I know the listeners today now are going to get a lot from this too. Let me just ask you, bro, so for anyone that can't see on video, you're in front of this fantastic new facility you've got at First Form at the moment. You're a CEO you've got multiple companies. You are, I know you don't call yourself successful, but you are what a lot of people would call successful. Did your teachers ever think you were going to get to this position now? Did you ever think you were going to get to this position now?
No, not any of my teachers. Absolutely not. I was typical terrible student. I didn't take notes. I didn't pay attention. Was one of those kids that when I couldn't see the point in what they were teaching, I would raise my hand and ask them what the point was. So I'm sure I annoyed a lot of my teachers. But no, I don't think I had any teachers that would really say, oh yeah, this kid was going to do anything. As far as what I thought, I don't know, man. I always felt like on the inside that I was going to do something. I just didn't know what it was. So, and I don't even know if this is it, to be honest. Yeah. So I don't know. I always wanted to be successful at something and be good at something. Time to figure out that I'm somewhat decent business. It's like anybody else, man. Some days, I thought I was going to be, exactly where I am. And some days I probably thought that I wasn't going to be anything. And I think I still have those days now. I still wake up sometimes and I'm like, fuck, dude, what are you doing? And then some days I wake up and I'm like, fuck, all right, you're doing it. So, it's still an internal battle, even at this point, I think.
That's such an important thing for people listening though, dude, because they'll see people with cars, private jets and everything like that. And they're like, oh, that guy's just got it all figured out. He doesn't have those days. But,
yeah,
the truth is that it doesn't matter how fucking quote unquote unsuccessful you are. Those things don't go away, do they?
No, and neither. That's what people don't understand is like once you get to a certain point, now you've got to continue to grow or you could go backwards. So, I mean, the pressure to continue to be good, if you're going to be one of these people who's successful over the course of their life, it never goes away. So, and in a lot of ways, it gets worse because now it's not just about my own personal success. It's about the success of the people who work underneath our company's umbrellas. I would say that the pressure to do big things is much more now than it was even then when it was just, me worrying about me. So it's definitely it's a fun journey for sure. I'm more motivated now than I've ever been because it's not about me anymore. It's about our team and the people who work here. It's just anybody who says they don't battle like that is they're lying. There's a lot of guys on social media right now who try to teach everybody about being a success and being successful in business. And they act as if, every single day they wake up, they're perfectly on point. And that just doesn't exist. And I know that for sure because I know all of these guys and I know how they are. And I get text messages from them saying, "Hey, fuck, dude, I'm having a bad week." And it's like, well, why do you pretend to be superior on the internet? You know?
Yeah, and that's just like that's so damaging to people viewing it. Well, we'll come on to that a bit more. Just sticking with your childhood for a bit. Did you play team sports as a child? And if you did, how important do you think that is for somebody's upbringing?
Yeah, I did. I started playing soccer. You guys call it football over there, don't you?
Yeah, well, I don't, mate, because I fucking hate it, but I'm a rugby guy.
Baseball, and then American football. And I played team sports all growing up, man, all year round. And I think it was a huge factor in how I grew up and even how I run my companies now. I think that the team sport aspect probably was one of the top most responsible events in my life for how I've turned out in terms of being productive with groups of people. So, but yeah, man, lots of soccer, lots of baseball. Sal and I both play baseball all year round, and then American football, and then wrestling was another sport. So yeah, man, but that was a team sport, but also an individual sport. So wrestling's kind of not really a team sport per se, but the scores add up for the team win. So I think it's a huge aspect that a lot of people are missing in their lives. I can always tell the people who work for us who played sports and who didn't play sports, and who was productive with a team and who wasn't productive with a team. So, and I definitely prefer people who have played team sport. They understand dynamics of a team. A lot of these young kids, dude, they don't know that right now. They've been on video games their whole life, so they don't understand what it's like to work with a group to a common goal.
Yeah, I think I'm a big fan of team sports, and especially contact sports.
Yeah,
because there's a lot to be said for getting smacked in the fucking mouth.
Oh yeah.
Getting your ass kicked. So you mentioned so team sports is a quality you look for in employees. What are if a lot of people listening out right now, they might be coming out of the military, what are kind of the good qualities that an employer like yourself is looking for in people?
Well, I think military guys and girls are just equally as good as guys who come from the sports world, because they're used to working within an organization with structure. So finding people who can, understand what their role is, but also contribute to the greater good when need to be outside of their role is a huge asset to your company. And a lot of people in the military have that automatically. They understand that even if they don't necessarily agree with the decision, they've got to do what the job is. and then they come back later and they say, hey, maybe we could have done that better, or even they speak up ahead of time. Hey, what about this? I find that military people make excellent employees. So I enjoy, we have a number of guys here who have served, and they're honestly my favorite guys to deal with, because one, they'll tell you the truth, and two, even if they don't agree with what your decision is, they'll go do it. And so that's very effective. When you're trying to run a company, it's an important part, because let's be real. Not every single employee in here is going to agree with every single decision that I make, or every single decision that somebody else makes. So having the ability to still execute, even if it's not what you necessarily think is the right play to run, is a big deal. I look for those qualities. Sports, ex-military, just because I know that I'm going to get the truth and I'm going to get, execution regardless of what their personal feelings are. So I think that, I think those are great people to hire. And if you're coming out of the military and you're looking for a place to work, we're always hiring.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I've learned a lot of this from your podcast is when you're in the military, you think the civilian world is like totally different to the military one, and fucking civilians are fucking lazy and they're always late, and you can't rely on them. And that's what I loved about your podcast, is because I'm like, oh, these guys just sound just like military guys. And I think it's something that veterans need to learn is like, look, you're a fucking winner. There's a lot of civilians out there who are winners too. You don't get to have a fucking company or a great physique or be a fucking champion by not having those attitudes. So one of the things as well is like your attitude. One of the first podcasts I listened to with you is the Kill It Every Day episode. Mm-hmm. What's that attitude all about, killing it every day?
They look at winning as an anomaly, or they look at it with mystery, and they think it's confusing. And so what I found is that it's really not confusing at all. What I found is if you focus on, breaking down the day into what's it going to take to win my day, and you win those days, today I win, tomorrow I win, the next day I win, and you start focusing on those little days, the rest of it takes care of itself. So I feel like, the biggest thing that people miss about becoming successful or becoming whatever it is they're trying to become, okay, is the fact that there's no real mystery to it. The reason you're not where you want to be right now has nothing to do with luck. It has nothing to do with chance. It has nothing to do with circumstance. It has to do with the last 1,000 fucking days that you didn't do shit. So for the last 1,000 days, had you been executing in a row, your life would look immensely different than it looks right now. And that's just a fact. And so people let those days, 1,000 days, that's like 3 years. People let those days go without any thought or regret or consideration as to what it takes to compound those into a victory. And so a life victory, to me, is very simple. It's executed on a daily basis for long enough for it to materialize. A lot of people think this is some sort of magic or mystery or unknown power that's dictating these things, and it's really not. The reason you're not where you want to be is because you have shitty fucking habits. That's really what it is. And, and especially now, people want to argue about, oh, well, you had this privilege or you had this or that, or get the fuck out of here. You don't know what I do every day. Motherfucker, most people couldn't do what I do every day. I'm just telling you that right now. I wake up, I fucking execute, and then I go to bed. And that's what happens. And so when I look at my life, especially right now, a lot of people, because we just opened our new building, a lot of people are hitting me up and they're being like, oh, dude, that's so cool. You've got to be like, motherfucker, this is what I expected. Like, This is what I've been working for. The last 20 years, I feel like I should have got here in 10 years. So, there's no surrealness to it. It's just like, I understand, okay, if I do these things, this will happen.
Yeah.
So when it comes to killing it every day, if you're someone who's trying to succeed and you're trying to build something and you're confused as to why it's not materializing, well, here's what I would say. Go look back at your last 1,000 days. What'd you do? And I guarantee you every single motherfucker is going to be able to say, well, yeah, you're right. No shit, I'm right. So it's not a mystery.
Yeah. Dude, one of the best things I took away from the MFCEO is such a simple one. Because like a lot of the time, the best things are most fucking simple, right? And it was the simple thing of a fucking win or a loss every day.
Yeah.
That was the most simple thing. So at the end of the day now, I look back over my list and then I get a W or I get a fucking L.
Yeah.
And that's it. And you know what? If you're writing down an L, you're probably going to go, fuck this, and go back and do your work anyway, because you don't want to go to bed with a fucking L. Like, honestly, I feel like the only days I get L's now is if I've gone out and got fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I'm trying not to drink and stuff at the moment, because then I'll get a few L's in a row.
Yeah. It becomes a game.
Yeah.
It becomes a game you're trying to win. I totally get it.
But I've seen your attitude, like, because basically, I've had like, I feel like probably people listening now feel they know me quite well because they do. I talk about my fucking shit on here twice a week, and I heard you for 5 years. You've changed in the last 5 years. When you started, it was like, I'm gonna fucking win and fuck you. Now it's like, I'm gonna win and I want to win you. I want you to win too. That's been really interesting to see the growth there. How has that happened? How did that come about?
I don't know, man. I think I've just become a better communicator because I don't feel like I think differently, but if I go back and listen to some of my old stuff, it was definitely delivered differently. And I feel like I'm delivering my content now with a better understanding of who the audience is, how to communicate it effectively versus just letting it rip. You know what I mean? And there's a time and place to let it rip for sure. Like sometimes I still do. And sometimes I need to because, man, I got to get this stuff out of me. But what I figured out is that, like, when I first started, a lot of people couldn't understand that the reason I was sharing with them all these things is because I wanted them to win. Why else would I share them? Yeah. So now I've had to become more intentional about explaining myself a little bit more when I say things. Like I catch myself saying things that might sound like I'm talking about just me. So I have to stop and, say, hey guys, look, the reason I say this is because boom, 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 boom. And it seems to connect better with people. This isn't about, hearing me talk or hearing my own voice. It's about making people better. And so I think really, I don't know that it's so much of an attitude change as it is just a skill set improvement,
Yeah, and I think one of the things that, like, because I'm the same dude. Sometimes I'll message you sometimes, and I'll be like, "Fuck," because I'm not communicating my thoughts very well, which sucks because I'm a fucking writer. But one of the things that you and I both expect a very high standard of people out of society. But it's because that's what we expect out of ourselves, but also it's what we believe everyone is capable of achieving, right? You're not saying that only I can do this. You're saying that anyone can.
Bro, I know not only I can do this because, like, I've walked around this earth this whole time knowing that I'm just a normal fucking guy. You know what I mean? So, like, if I could let people live inside my body for one day, inside my brain, they'd understand that I'm probably not even as skilled as them. You know what I mean? Which would help them understand. Because, dude, we're not taught to grow up and be successful. Mm-hmm. We're taught to grow up, follow directions, fall in line, shut the fuck up, get your paycheck, and go try to be happy. And that's not what we're meant to be. And so when I'm trying to, my whole goal is to get people to understand, just like you said, dude, like, you can achieve this. Anybody can achieve this. It's just, are you really willing to pay the price? And the answer to that question is usually no. It's just a fact.
It's fucking hard, bro.
Yeah, it is. And the other thing is too, is like a lot of people, when I get people to say things like, "Oh, congratulations." And they're like, "Well, how come you're not excited?" Well, it's not that I'm not excited. It's just that I understand what the fuck it costs to get here. And I'm not talking about money. You know what I mean? Like, I'm thinking of the things in my life that I gave up to get to this point. And I'm like, well, that makes sense. Like, it wasn't free. You know what I mean? So it's not like this, like, oh, wow, I just discovered this and it became reality. Like, that's not how it is. Like, I think back and I'm like, fuck, dude, I haven't been on a trip with my wife since 2012. We don't go on vacations. I don't do anything at night. I don't really have any friends. Like, I give my whole life to this shit. And so when, like, people see it from the outside and they think it's this awesome thing, you got to understand that on my mind, I've got a whole list of shit that I gave up for it. You know what I mean? So
I totally get it, man. It's like, like, if some people will say, oh, he did this in 10 years, but actually say someone with a usual work ethic, their idea of 10 years is like your idea of 10 years is what would take them 40 years to do, because you're doing 4 work days a day to what the average person is probably doing. Because when people actually look at their day, how many hours are they really putting in that day? Let's say you sleep 18 hours, 16 hours there, right? You get a lot of shit done in 16 hours. And then when people are like, oh, this person did all this in 10 years, it's like, yeah, but they worked 4 times as hard each day as well to get there. And, it is a hard investment. And I don't hold it against anybody that doesn't want to make that investment. It's like, if you're fucking happy, fine. Be happy, doing something else. But you gave away like a lot of information during the MFCEO podcast. You never you didn't charge for it. You did it, as something that really helped people. Like I said, I benefited from a lot for myself. I'll tell you this, a lot of friends in my life who are successful people in one way or another, be that successful happily, be successful in business, they all listen to it, which says a lot. But then you transitioned into a new podcast. Instead of doing the same thing again, because you could have just kept repeating the same message, because I go off some podcasts too, because I'm like, this motherfucker's saying the same thing you're saying fucking 5 years ago. There's no need for it. But you've transitioned into Real AF. What is Real AF and why the transition? Like
you said, there's only so many things to talk about when it comes to being successful. And occasionally, I still will bring these things up. But I found myself sort of in a weird position in terms of I had a lot of people who were asking me, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? What do you think about this? And talking about current event issues, right? They'd be like, hey, fuck you. I don't want to hear I just stick to business, even though it's free. And I'm telling you how to make millions of dollars. You know what I mean? So
yeah, you're getting
I got kind of tired of that.
Yeah.
Like I got tired of like people, like I had a lot of people reaching out to me saying like, I let my kids listen to it and I don't really want them hearing your opinion on this or that. Well, they don't fucking listen, And so that's so basically what I did was I just changed the format of the show so that I was free to discuss things that I wanted to discuss. And I feel like for the show to grow and to become, not just one of the top business podcasts, but one of the top podcasts, I've got to start talking about other things besides just business that are interesting. And I just wanted to be free from other people's expectations. I'm not your fucking kid's dad role model. Don't expect me to raise your fucking kids because I know how to make some money. And that's what people were starting to do. And I wasn't comfortable in that role. I'm not a fucking role model. Okay. Like I maybe I am in one or two areas, but I'm not in all areas. Like, dude, I'm a regular guy. Yeah. Like I've got shit that's fucked up too. And so I started to see like the audience was starting to put me on this weird pedestal that I wasn't comfortable with. And I just wanted to eliminate those expectations and create a show where I could be free to talk about the things that I wanted to talk about. And if you don't agree, that's fine. You don't have to listen, or you can listen like a reasonable adult and just not agree and say, well, he's got a different opinion.
Wait, are you saying, Andy, that it's possible to have a different opinion of someone and still listen to him? Is that what you were saying?
You know what? I'm not sure. Yeah, in theory, I think it's possible, but under current societal conditions, I'm not sure.
Yeah, and you know what, dude? It's like this idea, this like kind of like dance monkey dance culture thing that we've got, where somebody's like, "Oh, yeah, I've got an opinion." Like you share something on your platform, which is yours. No one has to be there, and then people will be like, "I only fucking came here for this." Like your the other 1.5 million followers you've got. Fuck them. I'm only here for this. Yeah. So please cater to my opinion.
I see this thing going around right now on the internet, like the shame culture, right? Everybody's trying to shame each other. And I see these fucking people, and I'm getting them too. These fucking people who I've never met before, who I've never heard of, who have never done anything significant. And I know that because I go to their page and then I look them up. And they're saying shit to me and other people like, well, if you don't wear a mask, then I have zero respect for you. Well, let me tell you something. Your respect is not at the top of my fucking priority list. You know what I mean? And so the entitlement that people had developed because of the gang mob mentality on social media is disgusting. Like, I'm sorry, Karen from fucking Alabama who drives a fucking maroon minivan that's a piece of shit, who's never done anything in her entire life. I'm sorry, I don't give a fuck about your respect.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so and then the other thing is we have these celebrities saying the same shit. Like Tom Hanks coming out saying, I don't respect anybody that doesn't blah, blah, blah. Well, fuck, go make your movies, dude.
Tom Hanks is definitely not someone I'm worried about his respect about if half of this shit going around about his crew,
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, bro. Like, go hang out with Jeffrey Epstein, motherfucker, And so we have this entitlement complex in society right now. Is very interesting because a lot of people who really have no platform to feel as if their opinion should matter think that their opinions matter a lot. And to me, I was telling DJ this yesterday, I kind of have to look at someone and decide whether or not I really give a fuck about their opinion. And the way I evaluate that is like, what does their life look like? Are they a quality decision maker? Have they done anything significant? Have they, do they have relevant life experience? Do they have a worldview that is developed outside of just reading a fucking headline on N? You know what I mean? So I think, I don't want it to sound like, oh, I only care if you made money and that's what I'm going to listen to. But like, bro, you had to have done something. Like, what did you do? Yeah, like going to McDonald's every day for 20 fucking years and stuffing your face full of fucking Big Macs qualify to me of someone that really value their opinion.
I agree, mate. If someone's fucking saying to me, because my thing on the masks, for instance, is I'm wear them, don't wear them. I don't give a fuck. Just don't tell me what to do. And if you're a fucking fat cunt, do not be telling me about health.
Right.
If you are fucking fat, do not be speaking to me about health. But it's this double standard, right?
Dude, this shit started in March. So if these people were really afraid for their fucking health, how come they haven't lost fucking 50, 60 pounds since this shit started? You see what I'm saying? So they're all full of shit too.
Yep.
And I agree with you. Like, dude, if you want to wear a mask and you think that's what makes you feel comfortable, I'm all for it, 100%. But going around telling everybody, hey, where's your mask? I mean, I'm not going to respond well to that. You know,
and more so than that as well. So you and I we're big readers, and I want to talk a bit about reading and the importance of it. One of the things we have right now in society is instant gratification. People want things right now. So when I'm saying and you're saying, well, I don't think you should be able to tell people to wear a mask, it's not about 2020. It's not about 2030. It's about fucking 2050 and beyond. It's the idea of having basically being scared of a group and making them do it. So talk a bit about like how talk a bit about where you kind of like your thinking comes from that on that side of things.
If you were going to take away people's fucking freedom, how would you do it? All right. You would do it a little bit at a time. I used to have this thought, and I think I've said it on the MFCEO before back in the day, but I used to always think like, how the fuck did Hitler get these Jews to get on the train, right? How do they do that? Like, how did he do it? Mm-hmm. And now I'm seeing it. Now I'm understanding how that mentality would work. And I'm not saying that's exactly what's going on right now, but I'm saying that if we said right now, hey, guys, we need you to go down to the train station and get on a train. We're gonna drive you over to Chicago, and you're gonna take this special shower that's gonna benefit you from fucking COVID. Motherfuckers will get on that train. And so now I'm starting to understand how this is happening.
Same thing. It's the same principle. It's the same principles apply. And you know what, Andy? The other thing that we've seen is that we're like, why would people rat on their Jewish neighbors? Well, we've seen that too.
Yeah.
Because if you make one person afraid, they will fucking snitch on everyone else to make themselves feel safer.
We've seen this in multiple state and local governments where they've actually tried to reward people for snitching. So they've created a new culture. The culture is no longer, hey, we're on the same team. The culture is, you're the enemy of me. And so what they do is they turn the individual against each other, which contributes to division, which makes it easier for them to manipulate the crowd. And people keep saying, dude, it's just a mask. It's just this. That's how they do it. It's just a mask. It's just a curfew. You know what? It's just a train ride. It's no big deal. And that's how they do it.
Yeah, what are you, selfish?
Yeah, exactly.
You want old people to die? You want old people to die? And here's the other thing about the mask. You're already dehumanizing people. When you take away a face, it's the same reason. So you know what's funny, bro? There were so many people who were like, oh, the fucking Muslim women shouldn't be covered up. It's against humanity. They don't get to see. And now they're like, yeah, masks. Like, no, we want to see each other's. There's a reason we're doing this call on fucking Zoom. So we can fucking see each other's faces when we're talking, man. But it's like, it's people are scared, and they're scared because they've never done anything hard. They've never had to fight for anything. Like people in the US and the UK, and I'm including us in this, we're fucking soft.
Yeah.
Compared to the rest of the world, we are fucking soft. And you, like, for a lot of the people I know, and you're same with you, COVID, even though it's actually not, but it made people feel for the first time in their life that their lives were in danger.
Yeah.
And they've never had to face danger on a daily basis before. It's really kind of it's really scary to see the way that we're going. But what's your kind of opinion on like the leadership that we're seeing, not from one party or the other, but the leadership in general in America? Do you think that it's helping or contributing to the problem?
Look, man, Trump should have stepped in and stopped it. Like that's how I feel about it. But then there's other things that I don't know. Like I see all of these far left leaders letting their cities burn to the ground. I see all these prosecutors who are also Democrats letting the criminals out, letting people out of jail so that they can go riot on the streets to make it appear as if Trump has destroyed the country. And so I think there's a lot of shit going on in the background that we aren't privy to right now. So my gut reaction is, dude, I'm actually kind of pissed at our president because I feel like he should be putting his fucking foot on people's throats right now. But if I was president, none of this should be happening right now. Now people be fucking screaming at me and they be fucking calling me a tyrant and they be calling me whatever. But all these motherfuckers that are burning shit down, they'd all be in jail, okay, forever. You know, like, dude, I would just run shit differently if it were me. I don't agree with dude, how many people have died now because of these riots? I mean, we've had like 30 or 40 people die here in America over these riots. They didn't have to die. You know, we have 20 to 40 people killed in Chicago every fucking weekend, bro. Like, this shit's got to get under control. Those are real people with real families and real, like, it's real life, man. It's not, I mean, you know, dude, you've dealt with death. You've served. You understand what that's all about, bro. Like, these people, they're fucking gone. Like, they're never coming back. You're never going to see them again. Never going to have breakfast with them again. Never going to laugh with them again. And the dehumanization to the collateral damage that's been happening because people are throwing a fucking temper tantrum at me, it really bothers me. The leadership that we have here, it's not what I voted for. Now, do I think other options are better? I think they're 100 times worse. But, you know, for all the shit that Trump's talked about being such a bad motherfucker, I'm not really impressed, to be completely honest.
You know what, dude, as well, is like I say, I've been to a lot of shit places. I know how well we have it in Britain and America. That doesn't mean that we fucking have to accept this fucking standard. That is a totally wrong way to look at it. It's like, oh, so because it's worse in fucking Iraq, then we should accept corrupt politicians over here? Fuck no. Like, we should be getting better. And one of the biggest problems with this is you've got politicians who are willing to burn down a country for their own fucking careers. They're not about serving the people anymore. One of the things I wanted to ask you is, do you feel like the party system and wokeness have almost like they've become religions in America? So no one's talking. Like, it's just like, my religion is Democrat, my religion is Republican, my religion is fucking super woke. What do you think about that?
Dude, I think we're way off track. The scary thing is that the younger generation, you know, the 18 to 22, 25-year-old generation, they think this is how it is. And so our government is a fucking democracy. It's based on capitalism. That's what this country was founded upon. We have a scenario now where we have one side, the Republican Party, supposedly, which still stands for that. Then we have this other side, the Democrat side, that wants to completely reform our frame of government into socialism, into huge government, into restricted freedoms, and where we're supposed to be voting on different versions of the same thing. Now we're actually voting on completely different things. So I think we're in a very dangerous spot in terms of where we are in the country, because like people don't realize, I don't think a lot of people have even put this together yet. Like this next vote is basically a vote for, do we want America or do we want something else? And that's not how it's supposed to be. And because I feel like the Democrats have just done dumb shit after dumb shit after dumb shit, people have started to figure out like that they're not really serving too many people. And so what I think is actually going on here, dude, is I think the left is so afraid. They understand that, like, if they lose this election, they're done for the next 30 years. That they're just going with the loudest, most extreme people that they see on social media, which is a mistake, because those people don't actually represent the Democratic Party. So now what we have is we have, let's say, a line here. We got Trump over here. We got Biden over here. But Biden's switched over to representing these crazy fuckers. So all these people who are like left, where they're, let's say, moderate left or middle left, sort of, they're moving over here. They're moving over to the Trump side because this has gotten so extreme. And I think, you know, fortunately, I think that's a good thing, because I think it's going to exterminate, you know, their hopes for ruining our whole entire world. But we'll see, man. You know, if they win, we're in deep shit, all of us.
Oh, yeah. Well, America won't be America anymore. And I obviously, I don't get a vote in America, but I always ask myself the question, who would I vote for? And it's always been Democrat. until now. There is absolutely no way. I'm a left-leaning dude. I want universal healthcare. I want people to be taken care of. I want fucking education for everybody. You know, I want people to get an equal footing to start.
Yeah.
But then once you've made it, I'm not for fucking taxing the fuck out of people either. So I'm kind of in the middle, like most people.
Yeah.
And like when I see because here's the thing, like I keep saying, we got to stop calling them liberals. Because there is nothing liberal about telling people how to live their life. There's nothing liberal about trying to imprison people and cancel people for saying something 20 fucking years ago.
I see a lot of people who are, you know, they don't want to vote for fucking Donald Trump, but they understand that voting for Donald Trump is the only way to preserve what's great about America. And they're thinking like, okay, well, let's let him clean out all this garbage, and then we'll get at it again in 2024, which I think that's a reasonable solution. I think that's really what's going to happen. I think what we'll see if Trump wins, we need another round of Trump, and then we need to give the left a chance to get rid of some of these people who are career politicians, get some fresh, you know, real, actual left thinkers like you. Because I agree with what you just said. I'm sort of in the middle as well. You know, like I wouldn't even say sort of. I'm definitely middle. So that's my personal take is, you know, we give it another 4 years and we let these people get voted out who have been there for 40, 50 years. We get some fresh youth in there that have some ideas that are not fucking insane, like AOC shit. And maybe we could get back to having some moderate, you know, real government. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I got sent something interesting in the DMs the other day, and it was basically, you know, the way that they've been tearing, because I know you're, like me, a big General Grant fan. One of the reasons people have, he was like, hey, maybe one of the reasons that they've been vilifying all these generals, all these other people, and saying they're all fucking homophobic, they were all slave owners, the people that stormed the D-Day beaches, it was white privilege, and all this stuff. Maybe the reason they've been doing that is because then we don't have the social construct of what we've got now, we owe to the people that came before us. So because they've taken that away, then you're like, I don't have to care about my freedoms anymore because the person that won them for me, the guy that died in Normandy, he was fucking homophobic. So fuck that guy. What do you think about, like, do you think there's truth in that?
Yeah, absolutely, dude. This is an insurgency. I mean, this shit has been planned for 25 years. You know, when they start that, what you talked about just there, that started 25 years ago when they removed doing the Pledge of Allegiance from classrooms, when they removed the idea of being competitive from classrooms, when they stopped rewarding people for getting first place and started rewarding people for getting 17th place. That's when all of this shit started. And that started right around the year 2000. And it's just like the mask. Like, oh, dude, you know what? It's just the Pledge of Allegiance. No big deal. And so this is how that insurgency started to indoctrinate a whole entire generation of people to believe what you just said. So now they're saying, well, all these people that came before us, fuck those people. You know, this isn't our America. That was their America. Well, they're making a big mistake because there's 90% of America still values that.
Yeah, I agree.
And if these people don't stop, that 90% is going to get real loud on them, and they're not going to like it. Yeah. So
I feel like they're building because they're pushing people, obviously, because that suits their agenda. But I think that they're pushing people too far, maybe not without realizing it, because they live in these little bubbles of Twitter and things. And dude, you could end up seeing some fucking French Revolution shit, especially with all the stuff that's going around right now about the whole Epstein stuff. If there's one thing that people will not tolerate, it's fucking abuse of children.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, like, none of us know what the actual truth is in that situation. But all I know is I've seen enough evidence about just the fucking flight logs and the fact that Epstein was killed in prison to indict most of these people who are what we would call the elite society. Why has it become critical thinking? Like, because if you're saying, look, this guy was killed in a maximum security prison, look at all these things that happened to make it happen. That doesn't seem right, does it? No, it doesn't seem right. Now look at all the people who flew on his jet, the Lolita Express, to Pedophile Island. How is it that is considered a fucking conspiracy theory? Because
for the last 20 years, anything that doesn't go with the left line of thinking is conspiracy theory. Like everything. Like if you even have a thought of, well, what if the reason they killed Jeffrey Epstein was because he was actually part of the government? And what if they actually used him to leverage in the media and politicians because they would fly these? Because guys, let's be real, bro. If some rich dude said, "Hey, bro, come down to my island and fly on my 737, and we're gonna have a fucking party," most people would say, "Fuck, that sounds cool. Let's go." Let's just say when you got there, you got drinks and you got fucked up, and then all of a sudden there's girls around, and these girls, they look 25, and they got their shirts off and they got their boobies out, and all of a sudden there's pictures of you with them, and then all of a sudden you go home. I mean, we're just saying, what if, and then all of a sudden you go home to Hollywood or to the political office or wherever, and you think you just had a great weekend. All of a sudden you get an envelope full of pictures that says, "Hey, Andy, I'm going to need you to say this on social media. Otherwise, you could keep being Andy, or you're going to be a pedophile publicly."
Yeah.
I mean, let's just say, what if? I mean, to me, that doesn't sound when you consider the list, and bro, you and I have talked privately, it goes way fucking deeper than that. But I'm just saying, how come asking that question is a conspiracy theory?
Yeah.
So, we're going to find out right now real soon about who has what. And I think if that Maxwell lady actually dies in jail, we're going to have some skirmishes. I think people are going to, I think that will unite people if that happens.
Dude, can you imagine being that woman's guard? He must be shitting his pants when she turned up on his ward, because he's like, "Fuck, I'm going to be getting visitors in the middle of the night." Dude. But you know what? But this is, again, why reading and history is so important. If you look back through history, and you see how in the corridors of power, how people have manipulated other people, fucking poisoning people, backstabbing people, bribing people. Why would it be any different in 2020?
It's not.
Exactly.
We're just conditioned to think that it doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, it's bonkers. And the same with war. Most of the world right now, there's wars going on everywhere. There's violence going on everywhere. There's genocide in fucking loads of the country. Like most parts of the world, it fucking sucks to get born there. And then in Britain and America and, countries like France, we're like, well, it hasn't happened here for, like the house that I've got, half the wall of our house was replaced because a German blast wave took out half the house. That was only fucking 70 years ago. There was German bombs dropping right around here. America, it's been even longer. So people think it can't happen. It's like, again, peace is the exception. It's not the fucking rule.
Dude, that's the point that's taken for granted. And people, I can tell you, dude, people here think it's impossible. They think it's impossible to see a battle which makes it very possible, because their ignorance to the fact is what's making us vulnerable to it. Like when you say that here right now, people say, "Hey, dude, you're being paranoid. You're being paranoid. That's not going to happen." Motherfucker, there was 12 million people killed 70 fucking years ago over something just like this, because someone started creating fear. They started deciding that certain people had to go, and they just fucking did it. And dude, it happened in the course of a short amount of time.
And Andy, why is it people, they're like, "Oh, there'd never be anything like Bosnia happens here." 40 people are killed on the weekend in Chicago. Why is it so hard to think that it could be 400 people? 40 people a week are killing each other over bullshit about who owns which corner or who said this to someone. You don't think that they'll kill people for the other stuff? Mate, we could go on about this stuff for hours, mate, but I want to talk about 75 Hard before we let you go. Why is 75 Hard, and why should people look into it?
75 Hard is the only mental toughness programming program that exists in the world, okay? It's an actual method to create mental toughness. All right. A lot of people think that mental toughness is something that people are born with. They think that like, oh, okay, well, that person just has grit. They have tenacity. They have the ability to endure. They have fortitude. They have confidence. That's not true. That's what we're told, but it's actually not true. And the reason that people struggle, with weight loss or relationships or whatever, business, whatever, is because they don't have the mental toughness needed to see things through. So for 20 years, I've been trying to figure out a program that would create a scenario where people could see how they could develop these things. And so what 75 Hard is basically a program that you would start so that you could build these qualities. And a lot of people have a problem grasping that. They're like, well, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, just like you would try to work out and build your body, then you're going to build your brain, okay, over the course of a year, 75 days, and then, phase 1, 2, 3 afterwards. The main goal of the program here is to make all the other programs that you've ever done in your entire life unnecessary. Because the truth is once you can figure out this, and once you get in control of this, the rest of your life becomes very, very easy. So the reason 75 Hard has really taken off is because it actually does that. It creates a scenario. Because if you think back, dude, like anybody who's listening right now, and you think back to like, the whatever fitness program you followed, or whatever relationship advice you followed, or whatever, financial program you followed. If you think back as to why those didn't work, it wasn't the program that didn't work. It was you that didn't work. And so what we're trying to do is recalibrate your brain so that you understand to get it, one, to be productive, and number two, how to turn it on and off when you need it. What's that skill worth? What's the skill worth that you can actually know that when you decide to do something, you're going to follow through and do it. So the 75 Hard is really for people to understand how to cultivate mental toughness. Well, one, that it can be cultivated. Two, how to cultivate it. And three, then how to implement it into all areas of their life.
Yeah, man. I've got friends who have been through it too. And these are people that have done some shit in their life too. So it's just because you've done something hard doesn't mean that it can't be. Like if you're in the military, you did boot camp or anything like that, we do need tune-ups. We need tune-ups definitely. But I think especially, I think it's great for young people, because we have a lot of young listeners, because, dude, like, not everyone wants a participation trophy. Most people want something that they've had to fucking earn. And if you can't be given that by someone outside, you can give it to yourself.
I mean, dude, if we're being honest with ourselves, let's be real honest. Everybody chases happiness, right? That's what we hear all over the internet. We've got all these happy motherfuckers telling us to be happy. Well, how? Oh, we'll go sit in the corner and, take off all your clothes and meditate for a fucking hour. That ain't going to make you happy. Let's be real. When was the happiest that you've ever been? The happiest that I've ever been, and the happiest that you've ever been, and the happiest that any motherfucker listening has ever been in their entire life is the fucking 5 minutes after they got done doing something really fucking hard. That's it. That's why whenever you have a beer after you just spend all day outside doing work, it tastes 10 times better. So we have to understand that hard equals happiness. And that's something that people, when they first hear that, they're like, what the fuck? But if you really stop to think about it, it's the truth. You feel the happiest after you've accomplished something that you value. And so what you have to do is you have to get yourself in a position to value the work that you do on a daily basis. And you get a W, like we talked about earlier, you're gonna get happy about it. And happiness is a daily task. Happiness is created, the image of happiness has been painted to be some sort of shit that you arrive at, I'm really happy right now. Well, what about tomorrow? What about the next day? What about the day after that? Because anybody who's ever struggled with like depression or anxiety or just life, that happiness comes and goes. So it's not this thing where it's like, oh my God, I'm so happy and I'm just living that zone. Nobody does that. It's not true. Most people that are happy have created a system that they value because they value themselves. So is truly how to be happy long term. And you have to do that just by maintaining it on a daily basis, just like we would any of our other progress,
And can anyone do it?
Yeah, 100%. There's some physical limitations to it, I guess, for some people. But we've had people, 500 pounds doing this program. So, I mean.
Wow. 500 pounds. Jesus.
I have one guy who lost 300 pounds.
That's amazing.
So, yeah, but like, dude, there's only going to be limits if you make the limits, because there's the way the program's set up on the physical aspect of it, it's scalable. So like you could go out and walk twice a day for 45 minutes as the workout. I mean, if you can't walk for 45 minutes straight, then you probably have some work to do to get to that point. And you can figure out an adaptation. But the program's designed to be scalable. And important to note, too, because when you go through the program the first time, and then you go through it a second time, which if you finish the first time, I guarantee you'll do it a second time or third time. You have to start to make it harder every time, because otherwise you feel like you're just in a routine. So I would say 99% of people can do it. Are there going to be people that make excuses? Yeah, I see it every day on the internet. Oh, fuck, dude, my fucking foot hurts, so I can't do my walk. That's the point. The point is it's supposed to fucking hurt a little bit, But
the idea would be there that it's like, all right, well, lift some fucking weights with your arms.
That's right. And dude, if you're really doing it, you're going to recognize that shit as an excuse on your own. And you're going to say, oh, yeah, I'm being weak. It's time to toughen up. Yeah, anybody can do it, bro. I mean, there's going to be exceptions, like there is to anything. But in general, most people can do it.
No, dude, I recommend it. Mate, I want to be respectful of your time, mate. So we'll wrap it up now. But you got anything you want to leave the listeners with?
No, man. I just think, it makes sense to think, like you said. I think the most important thing that you said on the show that people should be thinking about right now is that we're not talking about next fall when we say like, hey, fuck this shit. We're talking about what's going to be like 10 years from now, 20 years from now. And I think that's a concept that a lot of people don't understand. They think that the reason that I speak out against the mask thing is because I'm ignorant or because I'm not understanding it. No, motherfucker, I understand it perfectly. You're not understanding it. We're going to continue to get these things taken away from us.
Yeah.
If we allow it. And so I'm trying to find what's the limit going to be? And unless people start speaking up, there won't be any limit. It'll just keep going. It'll keep going. It'll keep going. And so, I think the main thing for people to think about right now is, pay attention to what they're taking from us. Pay attention to what they're forcing upon us. Pay attention to what's happening, because I think there's a lot more to it than what we would call a pandemic with, a death rate of 0.00004. You know what I mean? I think there's just a lot more going on. So,
yeah, and bro, I know you'll like this story. We had a guy on the other day. He was in the Iraqi military. He was one of the first ones to join. He couldn't leave the base, go home, because he knew he'd get murdered. His family would get murdered. And I said to him, well, what made you do that, knowing that you were in certain death? And he said, well, for the next generation. And I thought, well, if he's willing to he was willing to flat out die to make things better that he'd never see, the least we can do is speak up and ask questions.
I agree. And I don't think anybody should feel bad about asking questions. The weapon they're using against us right now is that if you ask or if you say anything different, you don't care about people. No, that's not true. I actually care a whole lot. And I care about the people who criticize that the most, because they're still sleeping. They're not seeing it and they're not thinking big. And so, we guys like us and the people listening here, I feel we have a responsibility to say, hey, guys, this isn't right. The good thing is, bro, I think I've seen a lot more people starting to, which is cool. So hopefully we're going to see, a little bit more activity in that moving forward.
Hey, and you know what? If we get proved wrong, great. I'd love to be proved wrong.
Yeah.
Love to be proved wrong.
Yeah, dude. If I'm wrong, I'll be happy and say, dude, you know what? I was wrong.
Guys, thank you so much for being with us today for that fantastic episode. Andy, thanks so much for coming on, mate. I really appreciate it. You've been, like I said, very instrumental in getting this podcast off the ground. We appreciate you so much coming on and appreciate that you're going to come back on again in the future. Guys, if you enjoyed today's podcast, please tell a friend about it. Bring a friend along. Make a post. We've kind of plateaued out on recently. We had a bit of a growth spurt and we've plateaued out again. So we don't charge for the podcast, but how about you bring a mate along and we grow it, because there are over 2 million veterans in the UK alone, and we want to at least give everyone a chance to say, fuck this podcast. Let's at least give them a chance and let them hear it in the first place, because I think messages like we get from Andy today and from all our other guests, their messages and their stories are worth hearing. I want to say a big thank you to the Royal British Legion, because without them, there is no podcast, and that is the bottom line. Check out Royal British Legion, at Royal British Legion on social media. They have great posts on there. Some of them are informative, some of them are inspiring. Some of them are about job opportunities. They're always looking for people, both volunteers and paid positions. So check them out at Royal British Legion and rbl.org.uk. And if you'd like to support me directly, or the podcast directly, should I say, VSOM Store is back up and running. There's some fucking Ali merch on there. We got t-shirts, hoodies, all that kind of stuff on there. Thank you for the guys that have put in orders already. Really appreciate it. If you have put in orders, send us in your pictures with your Ali merch and we'll make you Insta famous. Guys, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate you all. Catch you next time. Love you. Bye.
Yeah. Listen. Shout out Teaser. You told me not to worry, and you wouldn't break my heart. You told me you were sorry, yeah, my whole world fell apart. You said it's not my fault, and yeah, I've never done you wrong. I'm grinding to a halt, now I can see you're moving on. I promised I'd get better, and I told you things would change. You keep me to the gutter, yeah, I'll never be the same. I've gotta let you go, now live your life and spread your wings. And yeah, you put on quite a show, and pulled the puppet strings. And are you sure that you don't want me? Remember all the pain, or maybe you should thank me. It's your loss and my gain. I'm leaving now forever, I won't hang my head in shame. But yeah, you've taken me for granted, and you should feel ashamed. You sold a dream to all of us, a dream that we'd all die for, a reason for us all to live and something we could fight for. I might just help a man up to his feet or hold a newborn, but no matter what I do, my hands remembering my rifle, yeah.
Life's hard, I know that, still wouldn't change shit. I wouldn't go back, yeah, I wouldn't go back. Feelings I hold back, memories fade, yeah, they go fast, yeah, they go fast. Good times to come and go, survive the highs and lows, just take it step by step, I guess, yeah, I suppose. Good times to come and go, survive the highs and lows, just take it step by step, I guess, yeah.